Hi Forge followers, John Carlo here with Forge Recruitment. Today I wanted to talk about the negative impact that being complacent can have when you're someone who's looking to grow and develop professionally in your career. Now, before I jump into the negative aspects of being complacent isn't always a bad thing. What I want to address today is the negative impact of being complacent when you want more, right? So if you're looking to grow your career, and let's say, for example, you start at a firm as an associate and you're looking to become a partner down the road, being complacent is definitely going to have a negative impact on that trajectory. And this is something that when I started out in my career, I was rather complacent. I thought, what I was doing was good enough, and I never really pushed myself to do more. And ultimately, it ended up hurting me. So today I want to talk about 5 ways that being complacent can hurt you when looking to develop your career professionally. Number 1, inability to keep up with the changes in your industry. So we live in a very fast-paced competitive time right now, and things are always changing. And so if you are doing something and it works, but you're keeping your head buried in the sand and you're not seeing what other softwares or things that are going on or ways to do things are happening or rules or regulations are changing, and you're not aware of what's going on, all you're doing is putting yourself behind the 8 ball. So it's really important to set yourself up for success by staying on top of the changes that are impacting your job and your industry. Number 2, being complacent can reduce your motivation and productivity. So if you're complacent, you feel like everything you're doing is good enough, then what happens is you stop pushing yourself to do more, learn more. You won't push yourself to hit new goals or new targets. And in not striving for more, you might end up finding that what you're doing is very monotonous, and then ultimately that would lead to you getting bored and then ultimately underperforming. So being complacent can definitely hinder you that way. Number 3, if you are complacent in your role and you're kind of just going through the motions, what you're doing really doesn't excite you, then that can be perceived by your colleagues as you being uninterested. And if you're being perceived as being uninterested in what you're doing, then that can ultimately hurt your professional reputation within the company or within your industry. And then when opportunities do arise, maybe for promotion or to take on more responsibility, you may be passed up because others might think that you're not interested in what you're doing. And this rolls into number 4, limited opportunities for advancement. So if you're always going at the same level and you're not professionally pushing yourself to do more, then ultimately you're not professionally growing. And then when new opportunities do arise within your company or within the industry that you're working in, you might get passed over for those because maybe what you're doing or the things you've learned or how you're keeping up with the space pales in comparison to those around you. And so again, ultimately you're going to be at a disadvantage. And finally, number 5, if you're complacent in your role and what you're doing doesn't stimulate you, then ultimately you'll probably end up feeling not really that creative in how you're doing things. And so you might not think outside the box ever, and again, push yourself to do something maybe a bit different or to ultimately try something new. And that again will hurt you. So those are 5 ways that being complacent in your role can definitely hurt you if you're someone who has aspirations to grow in your career, do more, take on more responsibility. It's really important to understand that in this competitive landscape, things won't be given to you if you want certain things. You have to go out there and get them. And ultimately, you can't be complacent to do that. You constantly have to be pushing yourself to grow outside of your personal comfort zone. So anyways, there's just a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you. Hope you found it helpful. As always, if you have any questions, be sure to contact us. Happy job hunting and good luck.